Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce to you the Grand Marshal of our parade today, a veteran of World War II. Please give a wonderful round of applause for Mrs. Sylvia Brugger. Mrs. Brugger. Thank you very much for your service. And now for the official greeting, I bring to the microphone to the mayor of our town, Mayor Leo McCabe. Mayor McCabe.
Thank you very much, Ray. This has been such a glorious morning. This is, of course, the best parade in Gloucester County. Today, I believe it was the longest, with the most bands. We had 10 string bands and several new bands. People are clamoring to come and join our parade each Memorial Day now. And for that, I'd like to thank the parade committee. They work all year long just to do a wonderful job, and as you can see the results. We're looking now at Glassboro as a destination with what is going along Rowan Boulevard, new stores along High Street, and it's going to continue. We are a destination. I'd like to also reflect for a minute on why we are here. Memorial Day is really for those who died in the service of their country. They are the real heroes. We can go back to the Civil War, but let me just mention the World War II. We have veterans here today. The Korean War, Vietnam War, the war in Afghanistan going on at the present time. So many of the people have participated in this, and we thank you. We want to thank you personally for what you have done.
Our guest speaker today is a resident of Atco, New Jersey. She's the mother of 5 girls and 1 boy. Her only son, David, was killed in action during his 3rd tour of duty in Afghanistan on August 20th, 2003. Our guest speaker is very, and I stress the word very, active in many organizations involving our veterans, including, but not limited to, the Honor and Remembrance Flag, Gold Star Mothers Monument Fund, Liaison for Gold Star Family License Plate, and the Run for the Fallen, and many others. She is also an active member of the Rolling Thunder, Chapter 2 of New Jersey, whose mission is helping veterans in need. Additionally, she serves in the Waterford Township War Memorial Committee that completely renovated the Veterans Park in Atco, and my wife and I visited that the other evening. It is beautiful. It's beautiful. If anyone's in the Atco area, take the time to visit that park. At the present time, she is the president of the New Jersey chapter of Gold Star Mothers. She just spent the weekend in Washington, D.C., visiting Arlington Cemetery, where David is buried. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mrs. Judy Tapper.
Good morning. Oh, it is afternoon now, and I'm so happy to be here and to be able to share. I am an American Gold Star mother. I am here today to pay tribute to those who have served, those serving now, and above all, to those who have made the supreme sacrifice. My prayers are that more people will become aware of the cost of freedom and honor all who have given so much to preserve it. Citizens of our great nation have the privilege of choosing their careers. And in my opinion, those who choose the military deserve our utmost respect and gratitude. When the call of our country went forth to serve and defend our nation, our military, all those hearing the call to duty, responded as in Isaiah, "Here am I, send me." When our sons and daughters go off to war, we as parents know in the back of our minds the possibility as to what can happen. And when it does happen, we all share the same heartache and grieve in so many different ways. It's ours, it's our grief, it's our pain, and the rest of the world will just have to learn how to handle our craziness. To Gold Star families of our fallen, every day is Memorial Day. The sacrifice of our fallen loved ones is immense. My son David, the youngest of my 6 children and only son, served his country for 13 years as a Navy SEAL. He was killed in action on his 3rd tour of duty in Afghanistan while conducting a mission with his team brothers of SEAL Team 6. David's final gift to me was his wife, their 4 children, his teammates, his friends, and our family who adored him. I am blessed to have them in my life. The secret to surviving grief is not how you face the day or even how you battle the emotions of grief, but in how you choose to spend the moments. Some moments are awful and some are magical, but all are. We choose which ones to remember. There is frustration, anger, confusion, sorrow, pain, loneliness, and tears. But most of all, we choose to remember the beautiful and wonderful memories of that very special one, knowing one day we will be reunited. Until that day, I have chosen to put on his boots, pick up his weapon, and stay in the fight for our troops and the families of the fallen. The healing process did begin. As Gold Star mothers, we bear true allegiance to the government of the United States and to the advancement of our country's honor. Our mission is finding strength in the fellowship of other Gold Star mothers who strive to keep the memory of our sons and daughters alive by working to help veterans, active duty military, their families, and our wounded warriors. We get very much involved in community service, perpetuating the noble principles for which they fought and died. We honor through service. The legacy of those who are willing to preserve, protect, and defend our liberty lives on in those who serve our nation today in the many branches of the military. The debt we owe them can never be adequately paid and our gratitude never fully expressed. But it is fitting that we acknowledge our appreciation and pay tribute to the men and women of the armed forces of the United States of America. From the troops of Washington to those in the Middle East today, we honor the men and women of the United States Army. It will always be their pride to keep those caissons rolling along. Those who courageously fly and fight in air, space, and cyberspace to the tireless work of their ground support. We honor the men and women of the United States Air Force who keep our skies free. Safeguarding our nation's maritime interest in the heartland, in the ports, at sea, and around the globe, keeping our shipping lanes clear and protected. We honor the men and women of the United States Coast Guard. The Pacific, the Atlantic, the Persian Gulf, you name the waters, we honor the men and women of the United States Navy who are deterring aggression and maintaining freedom of the seas, air, and land. From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, they have fought and made us proud. We honor the men and women of the United States Marine Corps who serve as an expeditionary force in readiness around the world. We honor and pay tribute to our first responders on the home front, and we shall always remember their courage and selflessness of others. In the midst of the pride that we so rightfully take in those who have served our country in peace and in war, we stand with an even greater, more somber pride for those who have paid the ultimate price in service for our country. Their memory is preserved in the grave sites of Arlington and throughout the world. The beaches of Normandy, the silent depths of Pearl Harbor, the black granite of a Washington, D.C. wall, and the place we now call Ground Zero. Their memory is preserved in the hearts of all Americans who are grateful for such valor, respectful of such sacrifice, and impressed with such courage. We now call on all Americans to join us in prayer for support as we all safely stand here today. Young men and women are serving around the world who voluntarily serve our nation and honor us by their efforts. Just like all of you who have gone before, we owe you a debt of gratitude for all that you have done and what you continue to do to protect and preserve democracy and freedom for the next generation. When disaster strikes our homeland, we defend and protect. When terror threatens our human dignity, we respond. When our nation calls, we answer. We will never stop giving, we will never stop caring, and we will not accept defeat. We will never lose sight of our true endeavor, protecting America's freedom. We are grateful for those patriots and faithful supporters who come alongside of us to impact our troops and our families. Yes, we are Americans, and we live in the most prosperous nation in the history of the world. Be thankful. May God bless each and every one of you. Thank you.
Our service organizations will now present wreaths of flowers to the monument in the front. So your attention please as Ray Dowdy and Dolores Dowdy of the VFW Commander and Ladies Auxiliary President present the first wreath. And now your attention is directed to the flag where Howard Gant Sr. and Charles Gallagher will raise the flag to full mast.
He hath loosed the faithful binding of his terrible sword. His truth is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on. I have seen him in the watchfires of 100 circling camps. They have builded him an altar in the evening dews and damps. I can read his righteous sentence by the dim and flaring lamps. His day is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on. I have read a fiery gospel written burnished rolls of steel. As you deal with my contempt, so with you my grace shall deal. Let the hero born of woman crush the serpent with his heel. Since God is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on.
Very much. The next item in our program now is going to be the roll call of the deceased. As we begin this, we're going to ask our guest speaker, Mrs. Judy Tapper, and her daughter, Judy, to present the first geranium.
These are the young men who gave their lives in the Civil War. John Armstrong, Lawrence Elmer Cake, John R. Camel, Elwood Chew, Thomas Clevenger, James Cornell, Henry Frederick, William Hewitt, James H. Long, Adam Marshall, George McCliernan, James McCliernan, Thomas McDowell, William Newbern, Charles Parker, John Peoples, Malachi Zimmerman, Aaron Smith, John H. Smith, Christian Sterling Jr., Cornelius W. Strang, Francis A. Wilson, and William F. Zane. For World War I, Glassboro lost two young men, J. Leslie Paulin, Thomas H. Shaw, for World War II, Claude W. Rule, Anthony V. Desiderio, Frank D. Nigro, Donald K. Mick, Joseph Dominic, Patrick J. Looney, George W. Ware, Ralph M. DiGiovanni, Jack S. Du Bois, Charles J. Laporta, John E. Smorts. And for the next man, his brother will present the geranium. James Redmond Jr., presented by his brother Edward Redmond. Richard D. Scott, Benjamin B. Cummings. His geranium goes in front of the Star of David. Earl Beebe, Leroy E. Weatherby Jr., Alvin L. Woodruff, James W. Hurst, Lewis E. Stafford Jr., During the Korean War, Glassboro lost two fine young men, William E. Graves, Thomas W. Tucker.
Now to announce the names of the Vietnam War victims and recognized prisoners of war, Mr. Tony Hallis, Commander of the South Jersey Vietnam Veterans. Douglas Ely. Alan Williams. Presenting the geranium for Richard Johnson will be his mother, Virginia. Leon R. Field. Presenting the geraniums for James Hagelstein, Sophie Stoltz, and Hannah Police. And the former prisoners of war, all of these members here are deceased. George Awalt. Silvio Di Francisco. William Scafee. Harrison Shaw. Fred Tartaglione Sr. Now will be a rifle salute. This is will be very loud to muzzle loaded guns, so the 21 gun salute, followed by taps. Taps was performed by Mr. Kevin Siegel and Ms. Caitlin Korchenok, both seniors at Glassboro High School. And now for our benediction, we bring to the microphone Father Matthew Weber of St. Bridget's Catholic Church. Father Weber.
Compassionate God, we humbly implore your eternal care over the men and women who have made the ultimate sacrifice for our nation, for justice, peace, and freedom in the world. We place in your care, too, those missing in action, prisoners of war, past and present, as well as all victims of war, the fallen civilian, and those who grieve loved ones. Lift them up and grant them peace. This year marks the centennial of the beginning of World War I. Many wars and conflicts have since occurred and continue still. May war be a last resort, and the work for peace, justice, and solidarity our first and ongoing response. Bless us as we go forward from this memorial service. May we never forget the sacrifice of the fallen heroes. May we honor them publicly and also in our hearts. Finally, as we remember those in sorrow and in gratitude, we also gather in hope. May the sacrifice of these fallen American heroes become the seedbed of a more just world and society, united in freedom and solidarity, in justice and compassion, in peace and tranquility, and in the understanding that all men, women, and children are your children and our brothers and sisters. Amen.
Thank you, Father Weber. This will conclude our ceremony today. The VFW post will be open for refreshments later on, right after the memorial service. As we go forward today, let us not forget our MIAs. They have not returned. My cousin is one of them. He's been missing since December 1969. But as we close today, we go forth. Let me recite the words of General Norman Schwarzkopf. It doesn't take a hero to order men into battle. It takes a hero to be one of those men who goes into battle. Thank you very much for being here today. Please be safe today and come back next year. Thank you.